I shouldn't be able to pedal a tricycle 46 miles from Santa Cruz to Monterey having multiple system atrophy. I can't walk 46 feet without assistance.
This is the story about the ride around Monterey Bay to defeat MSA, the people that helped make it happen, and living with multiple system atrophy. You probably haven't heard of multiple system atrophy. In case you don't know what multiple system atrophy is, let me give you a brief explanation. Multiple system atrophy, or MSA, is a rare brain disorder that affects most body systems that govern movement, balance, and automatic functions like blood pressure and sweating. People with multiple system atrophy have difficulty with things we take for granted every day. For example, walking, talking, handwriting, urinating, tasks that require coordination or motor skills, eventually swallowing and breathing. The life expectancy for those with MSA is typically 5 to 10 years. At present, there is no cure for MSA.
Riding my recumbent tricycle is one of the few activities I can do and not feel like I'm losing my balance and about to fall and everything feels like it's spinning. My pedaling motion doesn't seem to be affected by MSA yet. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to ride, which brings me to the reason for doing this. I wanted to do a big ride while I still can.
My dad asked me and his friend if we would join him on a ride from Santa Cruz to Monterey.
I said, yeah, sure. Conversation progressed, and pretty soon his daughter, he and I were mapping out a plan to do this ride to raise awareness about MSA. There it is. There's the map. I know where I'm at.
With that, ride around Monterey Bay to defeat MSA began. The earliest available date that we could ride together was October 10th, 6 weeks away. We had no idea how much planning it would take. We were 3 people with little experience at fundraising, so we kept it to a small group.
A big part of it for me was in the planning stages, working directly with Dave and Jill, his wife, and Amber, his daughter.
Little did I know that I would experience so much more than a long trike ride. What was it about this ride that was so special to me?
The day of the event turned out to be a perfect fall day. Sleepy volunteers and riders arrived, each person doing their designated task. Excitement grew as more people arrived. Many of the riders were my friends, so we had a good mix of generations. We put on our shirts and bracelets, signed in, and gathered the riders together. The ride began. The goal was to spread awareness about MSA because it is so rare.
The ride itself was super inspirational, seeing Dave at the starting line jump on that bike, and his doctor was there, and his friends were there, and his daughter was there, and they all rode off together. It was just really fun to see kind of that human spirit in action.
The riders and volunteers knew I had multiple system atrophy, but they knew little about it. Some probably thought, he can ride a bike, so how bad can MSA be? I would have heard about it by now.
Realizing that most of the current attention is focused on more widely known diseases, multiple system atrophy is often overlooked. MSA patients are confronted with a dim prognosis and left with few options. Sufferers often see multiple specialists over a period of years prior to finding out that they have it. Awareness is the first step in changing that.
We found out right off the top that most people have no idea what MSA is, and so it was really a treat to be able to be involved in this ride and to help further raise awareness of MSA at all of our rest stops, or even, initially amongst our volunteers and our sponsors.
Before Dave was diagnosed with MSA, I had no idea what it was. Seeing what he's gone through over this last couple of years, I realize how important it is to raise awareness and be sure that people are aware of what this disease is. Also to raise funds for the people who are fighting this.
30 riders and volunteers learned more by participating in the ride and shared what they heard with others.
It was inspiring to see the service of the volunteers that gave their time to make the ride easier. The sponsors and volunteers provided everything we needed for a smooth ride. That reminded me of MSA caregivers and all they do for us every day. Not enough is done to thank them. Powerless, they watch us decline before their eyes, unable to stop the progression of the disease. They can only make our lives a little more manageable.
The MSA shoe made the journey. The sole mission of the Defeat MSA Awareness shoe is to raise awareness about multiple system atrophy by its symbolic World Marathon. And its global journey has since undertaken in memory all of those that have died due to MSA and in support of those presently fighting multiple system atrophy.
When Dave connected us to the MSA Alliance group, we then learned that this is actually going on, raising awareness and funds globally.
As the days go by, I watch myself gradually lose the ability to do the simple things that I used to do. With no chance of getting better, I have wondered, how do people keep going when things keep getting harder? For me, having MSA is one of the hardest things to accept. That I can't change the outcome is hard to believe. A simple prayer called the Serenity Prayer helps me out. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Does accepting mean surrendering or giving up? There are some things that I can change, and others I can't. I can't change that I have MSA, and accept that I can't do what I used to do, but I can accept that I have it. I can accept that everything becomes more difficult, and I can accept that I don't like it. I can change my belief that I don't need help. I can let people help me, and I can look for the positive things in life rather than the negative. But when I resist, I think, I can't believe this is happening to me. This is my struggle, a never-ending uphill battle. Too often I dwell on the negative, and it's only going to get worse. The bike ride was so good for me because it kept me focused on what I can do, and also the good in what others can do. Having MSA sucks. Living with MSA seems like I age in dog years. Every year that goes by seems like I age 7 years. I have a walker now. I don't drive anymore. I can't pee without a catheter. I don't say much anymore, not because I don't have anything to say, but because it's so hard to talk. It's so frustrating for me when people see me like this. I want to tell them, I didn't used to be this way. I used to do all the things you can do. Pretty soon people close to me will forget what I was like, and I'll be the guy with MSA. For one day, the ride took my mind off having to deal with multiple system atrophy. For about 6 hours, I felt like I was my old self. I had no balance issues while I was riding. Being mobile was easy. The weather was perfect. The scenery was breathtaking, and it felt like we were a team with a purpose.
My overall experience of the event was that it was a ton of fun. The bike ride was on a glorious, beautiful day. We had the wind at our back. It just couldn't have been nicer. Thank you. Thank you for bringing us along on this journey, and thank you to all of the people who participated, and also our sponsors to make the day so wonderful.
I had a great time that day. The people who supported me were wonderful. Hopefully, they learned about multiple system atrophy and spread awareness to others. For those of us with multiple system atrophy, our caregivers and loved ones, there is no happy ending. Our world grows smaller day by day. As awful as my outlook is, the bike ride helped me to make the best out of a bleak situation.
चांद ज़मीं पे आया है तू, हाथ उठाकर बिस्मिल्लाह, इसे दिल में तू भर ले, नजरों से कर ले बिस्मिल्लाह. And I was carried away.